Hello, I'm Volodymyr Teteruk, and in this edition of the program Persona Grata, we'll be talking about France, about Ukraine, bilateral relationship between France and Ukraine, and we'll try to look at our future of post-war Europe. My today's guest is a former French senator and now political activist and a friend of Ukraine, Jean-Yves Leconte. Monsieur Leconte, welcome to the program.
Good morning, thanks a lot.
Well, I'd like to ask you a question at first concerning French establishment. What is the attitude of French establishment to Ukraine, to Ukrainian people? I mean, how they realize us and what do they think of us?
I think that there is a big change since 2 years.
Yeah, I'd like to stress attention just on that.
There is enormous change since the 24th of February. But in fact, I think that the change starts after and during the Orange Revolution. Because before, Ukraine was just a part of the Soviet Union for a lot of French people. But in 2004, the Ukrainian people saw and showed to the world and to the European people that they want a European future. They want democracy. They want, in fact, the same kind of road than the road which was the road of Central Europe. It was the year of the big enlargement of European Union, and Ukraine say we are democracy. We are in the same in the same part of Europe, and we want the same future. And at this moment, the look about Ukraine has changed in France. But I must say, not enough to change everything about our point of view about Ukraine. But clearly, after there is all the time people who say it's a corrupt country. Okay, we know that there is corruption in Ukraine, but we know that there is corruption in all ex-socialist countries, and we know that the way concerning corruption, there is a lot of improvement in France too since 30 years. I mean, it's not the same position. We don't have the same exigencies today than we had 30 years ago. So it's not when people say, okay, Ukraine is a corrupt country and they don't, it's true. Everybody knows that, but it's not only Ukraine. It's a story for each country to change, to answer to new exigencies. So I think it's not, which is today, since 2 years, the most important. It is a country of people who are patriots, who know what future they want for their country, who live since 2 years tragedy and drama as we didn't meet in Europe since a very long time. For some people of Bosnia, okay, they had this kind of tragedy, but in fact, it's the Ukrainian people are today living with a war as we didn't have in Europe since more than 70 years.
Yeah, because the scales of this tragedy is uncomparable with the
exactly.
former Yugoslavia one.
But for the Bosnian people who had to meet that, no, it's there is the scale is different. But for one person, that's what they live. So it's hard to compare with. But at this level, you're right. But I think the most important is the respect of the patriotism and the respect of the fact that we have the feeling that Ukrainian people they know what they want for the future of the country. They want the European perspective, they want freedom, they want democracy, and it's clear. And people know that they are fighting for that. Before the 24th of February, when I was trying to explain in European Affairs Committee of Senate of France that for me it's normal that Ukraine has to be a member of European Union, I didn't have a lot of support to this idea. So a lot of people say, okay, it's two big countries, we have to respect Russia, and so on and so on. Now they understand that it's important. So when you see, the Emmanuel Macron ask a National Assembly and Senate to vote to make a debate about the French policy against about Ukraine and the support to Ukraine and the European perspective of Ukraine in March, and the vote was positive in National Assembly and in Senate. It's not, a ratification of something, but it's an indication that there is a majority of the parliament which is supporting this direction. And in the population, there is a big respect for Ukrainian people, big compassion to what a lot of Ukrainian persons meet in this war, the sacrifice of the Ukrainian soldiers, what's happened in Mariupol, in Bakhmut, in Vovchansk now, in Bucha, in Borodyanka, who was even nobody was able to imagine that before the 24th of February. Mm-hmm. So respect and because of what in fact Ukrainian, I must say they have light in their eyes.
Mm-hmm. Well, in connection of my first question, I'd like to ask you about the position of French media. We know that public opinion depends on position of the media. How Ukraine is described in French media? You have mentioned corruption. As for me and for many of my competitors, it's clear that many media covering events in Ukraine mention corruption as a great evil. Speaking about French media, what is Ukraine? What is its image? The part of corruption, is it big or not? It's clear that the situation with corruption in Ukraine before the war, but since a long time, is not good for the image of Ukraine. But each Ukrainian knows that, and it's not the only country with that. So, it was, the first aim of the President Zelensky was elected. Everybody knows how was his campaign about that, and it's clear that there is a political will to change that in Ukraine. So what is important is to be conscious about the problem is necessary. To use this fact as an excuse to do nothing, it's not acceptable. To use this fact as an excuse to not help Ukraine is not acceptable. Because helping Ukraine today is not helping Ukraine, it's helping us. Because Ukraine is not just fighting for its freedom and for the democracy of Ukraine. In fact, it's maybe even a pity to say that, but in fact, Ukraine is fighting for the freedom of Europe and for democracy in Europe. So to take an excuse to do nothing or to limit the solidarity is not acceptable. Mm-hmm. There is another point. People sometimes in France are making mistakes because they believe that in this war, this is just about territories. And they make the parallel with the First World War, not the second, but the first one. To say there is Donbass, okay, that's a problem of territories. It's not something more. Mm-hmm. And the church, they try to
to show how it could be a solution for that in our history. And, if I see parties who are not supporting the solidarity, who want, everybody says they want peace, everybody says that it's necessary to support Ukraine because nobody will say we support the action of Putin. In France, nobody says that. But after there is person who say we need to support and to help Ukraine to win, and there is people who say, okay, we need to be solidarity, we need to give solidarity, to have solidarity with Ukrainian people and with Ukraine, but what is the most important is coming back of the peace. A little bit like the Minsk agreement. But in fact, in this case, they just believe it's a problem of territories. They don't see that this war is not about territories. This war is about freedom. It's about democracy. It's about the way to see the future of his country on even on the possibility for citizens to be citizens and not just subject of the government.
You see, your words reminded me the position of former Chancellor, German Chancellor Konrad Adenauer, who said after World War II that it's better to have split Germany and developed part of Germany as a democratic state than have one Germany, communism, Stalinists, Germany. So if we say about modern Ukraine, how important is to keep, to save democratic institutions, to develop them in comparison with liberation of temporarily occupied territory, because now many of our compatriots and many of our foreign partners are speaking about peace in Ukraine, and what is the condition for peace? Can we compare them if we put on the balances territory and democratic institutions, democratic process, or it's incomparable things? We must liberate our territory at first and then discuss what we will build. Even if the process of liberation spoil a little bit the process of democratization, because we need to mobilize whole society, and therefore we must lose some democratic principles. Of course, it's natural because it's war.
It's hard to say because that's the sovereignty of Ukraine to say what is the victory of Ukraine. But if maybe it's very easy to come back with the border of 91, to propose Mr. Yanukovych to come back at the head of Ukraine, and the border will be maybe. But what is the future? What is the future of this country at this moment? I had the feeling that since, in fact, even not 2004, since Ukraine without Kuchma, Ukrainian people are concentrated about and involved to get a democratic country, a country which is about to choose himself, his future, his alliance, and that's why the involvement of the European, of the Ukrainian people are so big in this fight since 2 years. But in fact, that's Ukrainians who have to decide what is the victory for Ukraine. But in my opinion, as I understand the wish of Ukrainian people, they will prefer to accept the European perspective, democracy, and guarantee of security, even if there is not a full recovery of the territory. because on the other hand, I have the feeling that after 2 years of war, the war is awful. And clearly, if there is another possibility if as quick as possible, Ukraine can get that, even not in its full border. I think a majority of Ukrainian people may accept that, but it's not, to me, it's not my decision. It's not. I cannot. It's not. I'm nothing. I am nobody to say that. But I have the feeling that Ukrainian people, if they have the choice, border or freedom, they will choose freedom. If they have the choice between border and democracy, they will choose democracy.
And this choice will be.
But due to the experience of the past, even if there is a ceasefire on something like that, Ukrainian and Europe has to be full conscious that the risk of a coming back of the war is all the time possible, as long as there is this kind of government in Moscow, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah, because in fact, it's what we try to do with Minsk agreement, to give a chance to discussion and not to fire. But after 8 years, we have seen that it was not enough to block the comeback of the war.
Yeah, it's a serious question. So the right answer on this challenge, the right decision in this situation for Ukrainian people would be some sort of evidence of our it would be the sign that we became a political nation that is responsible for serious steps, because it's not only, well, we must rule not only emotionally but rationally. Monsieur Leconte, many former colonies after getting independence couldn't be prospective and developed countries. Only some of them realize their sovereignty as a country of democracy, of high level of life, etc. By the way, Louisiana, the state in the United States of America, was also a French colony, now as a part of the United States of America, which also was a colony of Great Britain, and we can say that it's a success example of a former colony that became a superstate. Concerning Ukraine, what can you say? Where is it? Is it closer to those who became geopolitical losers, or we have a chance to reach very good goals?
You know, I have a friend, you know him, who asked me maybe 15 years ago to buy him a book of Frantz Fanon. Frantz Fanon is one of you know, Frantz Fanon was very one of the most important person to think about the decolonization, and to say what is the meaning of decolonization, and to change the relationship between the new country who wants to have his own direction and the old empire. That's clear, you know. As of that means that he was conscious that, in fact, the relationship between Kiev and Moscow was a kind of colonization, colonial relationship. It's important to speak about that because it could help Ukraine to get support in, I don't like this expression, but now everybody use it when everybody speak about global south. You know, I don't like this because global south, it's a lot of contradiction and so on, but it means that, you know, the countries were not west. And in fact, they didn't see that what's happened today in Ukraine is in fact a colonial war from Russia to keep a part of a territory. They believe that it's their part of territories. And if countries were colonized 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, understand that in fact what is doing now Ukraine is the last step to be really free of Moscow, free of his old empire. It will help them to support Ukraine and not to be as neutral as they are today, because they want to keep, you know, they say, oh, it's just a problem of territory between Russia and Ukraine. We don't see. They don't see that it's a decolonial process. They don't see that it's a process where the Ukrainian people want now build his own future and history. And that, in fact, in Russia, they believe that it's a part of, it's clear, you know, as a French people, who I have seen how it's hard sometimes to change his mind when we were believing that a part of another country was a part of our country, and to accept that in fact it was not. We had that in our history with Indochine, with Algeria, with it's not easy. And even after the official decolonization, we can keep certain way to work, which are in fact the fruit of colonization. And it's not helping the future of the other country. I know that because I can observe that even from my country. So but today it's clear that for Ukrainian, that's the last moment, the last act of the decolonization of Soviet Union. But we see that in fact other countries are in the same process. Georgia is in the same process. Armenia is in the same process, and even when we see sometimes the behavior of Central Asia country, sometimes we could believe that that's they start to do so too.
Many Ukrainians believe in a plan of Marshall for Ukraine. So they think that there was some sort, this plan helped post-war Europe to recover after World War II and began civilized and modernized part of the world. So Ukrainians say, just enough to overcome Russian and Western world will present its some sort of Marshall Plan to Ukraine, and we overcome all our economic, social difficulties, etc. So they believe, we believe, I belong to those people, in it like in a magic ball, like in magic lamp, that enough to rob this lamp and the genie appears.
But
and
do you really
like plan of Marshall? Everything will be.
I mean, do you believe on the force of the freedom, on the efficiency of democracy or freedom, on the or do you believe something like a miracle of money? I think after 2 years of war. And the difference between the expectation Ukraine has from European Union, but from America on the reality, I'm not sure that Ukrainians are thinking, I believing in miracle, because they see that in fact the answer was not exactly at the level they were expecting, specifically due to the tragedy and the drama we can observe in a lot of regions of Ukraine. So in fact, I don't think Ukrainian people are believing in the fact that okay, after the war you will have a lot of money. Just if you don't get this money now,
there would be the plan, and the plan. Someone will produce this plan and say us what to do. We begin to do, and there would be everything okay.
Excuse me, if you fight for independence, for democracy, and to be, it's not to wait from America, from Brussels or Washington. So I think what is important is, and I understand that it's more that together, because in fact in Europe, from Kharkiv to Lisbon, in fact, we have the same problem, except the war today. But if we have a look about the demography, the problem in Europe, energy, economic, ecological transition, we have the same problem, and we have more or less the same kind of society. So in fact, if we want to be strong in the world, we have to be united, and in this way, we can do a lot. So that's this which will allow us and will allow Ukraine to get forces. It is not money from Brussels. There will be solidarity, but there was a problem first that Germany was in his economic model due to in 2022 because a big part of the economic model of Germany was based on very cheap energy, because they get very cheap gas from Russia. Cheaper, the Russian gas was cheaper for Germany than it was for Poland, or that the gas was or for Ukraine. It was the cheapest gas in all over Europe. So in fact, they were able to develop more the industry because they have very low cost of energy, thanks the very cheap gas they get from Russia. So this model was convenient for Germany, but was convenient for all Europe, because in fact Germany earned a lot of money, but this money was after give it to Europe to allow the development, to allow the different program to develop Europe. In mind specifically the money to develop the cohesion fund for Poland, for the new enlarged states in 2004. So in fact, a big part of what was done since 2004 in the new country were in 2002, 2004 and 2007 in a member of European Union. The money they get from Brussels was in fact money from Germany. So, and this money was thanks the economy, because the economy of Germany was well performing, but this economy was performing thanks the very cheap gas from Russia. So this model is broken. So Europe and Germany has to think about something new today, and we need to think about that together. And the second thing, which is different with what we have 20 years or 70 years ago, is that you have a look, G7 or NATO. It's not the same, but G7 is with Japan, and NATO, it's a lot of countries without Japan. But if you see the GDP of this country, before it was, this country were dominated the world economy. It's not the case now. It's not the case now. BRICS are more strong than G7. BRICS. The economics of BRICS is more strong than G7. The economics of BRICS is more or less, I think, the same than economy of country of NATO. So we are not in the same world than 20 years ago. South is growing. It's good. But it's less easy for us. And we have to be more united. But I'm sure that with, the efficiency, the capacity, of democracy, of freedom, to create new technology, to make innovation, we can manage, because of freedom, because of solidarity between countries, to be a very prosperous part of the world.
So it's interesting listening to what you are saying. The future role of the Germany and the future role of France in the European Union. You see, when the Russian gas is gradually running out, not running out, but I think that in the nearest future it would be less Russian gas in Europe. What will happen with German economy, and will it have some consequences on the economy of European Union?
To not use not using gas very quickly, as Germany is forced to do it since 2 years, is not easy. But for a more long period of time, due to the ecological crisis, we have to produce more energy with less carbon. It is good, in fact, to find this challenge, because you can make a lot more with renewable energy. You have to work in terms of efficiency of the industry, efficiency of the grids, electrical grids. So it's not. It's a new challenge, but in fact it's a challenge in accordance with the agreement of Paris, of the COP21, which is important to try, even if it's sure, unfortunately, that we will not manage, to keep as less as possible the growth of the temperature, the evolution of the temperature on our planet. So, in fact, not using gas. Using gas is using carbon. It's producing. It's making new emission. If you are not using gas, you make no emission. So, in fact, to be forced to find other way to produce energy is maybe hard, but when you will manage, we will manage to find the answer to this challenge. It will allow us to be in accordance with the necessity of the future, to have a world without carbon emission.
Monsieur Leconte, you are a friend of Ukraine, and in connection of this, I'd like to ask you, what do you think? What is your mission in this situation, in this world, in improving bilateral relation between Ukraine and France, and relationship in the whole Europe? Personally, you. As a human being.
Yeah. I'm not a member of parliament now, so I'm just citizen, activist. Activist of what? Activist of for which is believing in an Europe which is able to take its future in her hands together. And for that, we need all the people of Europe who want to be together. And it's clear that Ukraine is one of these I would like to see Ukraine as a full member of European Union, and I'm involving in my political party in France, Place Publique, which is strongly pushing the support of Ukraine, the support to the Georgian people today, we want to go further in the European construction because it's the future of our continent. As I mentioned before, it's good to see the rest of the world developing, but it's a challenge for us in Europe. Not to say to have a look about to have the nostalgia of the period where we were strong and the other were not strong. No, it's not that. But to take our part of the future of the planet, and for that, to build we need Ukraine in Europe, and we need a free Europe, independent, and I'm trying to do that as an activist. To convince that it's really what is important, not to be afraid about war. Not there is a lot of question concerning the efficiency of the political action today. You see in all over Europe, in America, there is discussion, a lot of populist movement. That's clear that the political action, the political party, activism is changing due to social network, the possibility of disinformation, which is done by social network. But I'm strong believe that if we understand well how they work, the fact that each person is able to be involved, to have a lot of information sources, is a chance for the democracy when we will manage to work with social network. It's a moment where a lot of people have questions concerning the future of democracy, because the connection between the new world, the social network, and democracy is not fluid today. We see Donald Trump, we see a lot of influence in the European Union. But I'm strong believe that that's the responsibility of the political parties, the political activists, to show that in this new world, there is new requirement for the political activists and for the political parties. But if they answer and they manage to be more efficiency, more transparent, in this new period, the democracy will be more strong.
Monsieur Leconte, thank you for joining the program. And I'll say it was Jean-Yves Leconte, former French senator, and now political and social and human activist in the program Persona Grata. I wish you good luck and glory to Ukraine. Goodbye.